Welcome to Faith and Freedom. For the next few minutes, we hope to inform, inspire, and encourage you as we discuss legal victories and challenges to your fundamental freedom and religious liberties. Faith and Freedom comes to you from Liberty Counsel, a civil liberties education and legal defense organization. Join us now as Mat Staver, founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel, explains the latest legal issues all across this country. In the courtrooms of America, Liberty Counsel is winning the battle for your constitutional freedom.
The Supreme Court will be considering some of the ObamaCare cases this fall to determine which ones they will take for review. I am Mat Staver, founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel. Joining me is Matt Barber, vice president of Liberty Counsel Action. Matt, there's 3 cases now pending before the United States Supreme Court for their review. There's 2 on the HHS mandate, one going one way, one going the other way. And then there's our case, Liberty University versus Geithner, that includes the HHS mandate on forced funding of abortion, but also includes an entire challenge to the employer mandate across the board. No doubt I think the Supreme Court will take one or more of these cases sometime this fall, and we likely will have oral argument in 2014 with a decision by June of 2014.
Yeah, it's my hope that they take our case. Obviously, I think clearly we have the most comprehensive case that will hit on the largest number of issues, and we have the most challenges. But the HHS mandate portion of it, of course, that with the 10th Circuit, the Obama administration is showing their hand here. They have no intention of backing down whatsoever, and they're going to court to try to force Hobby Lobby and other companies, private companies, to fund abortion. That's the bottom line, to fund abortifacients, and so they're not backing down one iota.
Well, there's 3 cases that have been petitioned to the U.S. Supreme Court for review. One is our case, Liberty University versus Lieu. And in that case, we challenged the entire employer mandate. We challenged the HHS forced funding of abortion mandate. And we challenged the forced funding of abortion on the individual mandate. That was the first case that was filed. So sequentially, that's the first case in terms of the docket number. Then the other 2 cases that have come up are only challenging the HHS mandate regarding the forced funding of abortion or abortifacients, drugs and devices. And one court goes one way in joining that particular provision, and the other court goes the other way and not granting the injunction. So there's a conflict between those 2 federal circuit courts of appeals over the constitutionality of this forced funding of abortion. And those are classic conflicts that the Supreme Court likes to resolve. So now you've got 2 that are in direct conflict, and then our case, which has the broadest challenge possible, that includes the funding of abortion provision as well. So we don't know which ones they're going to take, but it is likely that they will take one or more of these cases. It could be that they take our case and then include everything under that one case, and we just don't know. But sometime in early October when they come back, and sometime later in October and November, they'll ultimately make a decision on whether to take one or more of these cases, and we'll know pretty soon.
I think it's clear, Matt, that the case is strong against the constitutionality of compelling privately owned companies and individuals who may be operating from a Christian worldview, compelling them to be complicit in abortion homicide. That's what we're talking about here. Certainly, in the Catholic faith, from a birth control standpoint, they oppose contraception, period. And so to compel Catholic companies, private companies and organizations to violate their conscience, it seems like a no-brainer when you look at the clear language of the Constitution and the intent of our founding fathers and the framers of the United States Constitution. Unfortunately, in this day and age, and I think the Obama administration understands this, everything's a toss-up. So which way will the court go, the Supreme Court go, and which case will they look at? That all remains to be seen, but we don't have the level of confidence that we maybe once had in this Supreme Court.
Well, according to the ObamaCare law, it says that employers are required to give this essential coverage. And then the HHS mandate came out and said that under this provision of the essential coverage and this women's coverage provision, in terms of preventative care, it needs to also include free contraception. And, of course, the Federal Drug Administration, the FDA, has classified as a contraception those particular drugs that also are abortifacients, such as the Ella and Plan B. Those particular drugs are the so-called emergency contraception drugs, the so-called morning after pills. They are not contraception, as the FDA's own website admits. They frequently interfere with a fertilized egg to prevent implantation of that egg on the uterine wall, and in some cases may even, in higher doses, slough off the implanted egg on the uterine wall. So we're talking about an abortifacient, and of course an IUD, an intrauterine device, is also included in the FDA's determination or definition of contraception, and that clearly is an abortifacient. So what this particular mandate requires is that employers provide contraception and also those abortion-inducing drugs and devices. And that's where Hobby Lobby, that's where Liberty University, that's where many employers are pushing back, and Catholic employers are certainly pushing back on the entire provision. Either way, it is a direct and irreconcilable clash with the free exercise of religion.
And it's this Obama administration is using a Alinskyite tactics and an incrementalist approach. They very cleverly drafted the language of ObamaCare to give the Secretary of Health and Human Services, in this case Kathleen Sebelius, a radical, pro-abort, unfettered, and unilateral what's the word I'm looking for here? Decision-making powers to determine what are essential services at any point in time. And so we know that they're testing the waters with the abortifacients and with that portion of the mandate, but we know absolutely that it is just a matter of time until unilaterally HHS comes out and says, no, women's health services include abortion, surgical and chemical abortion as well.
Well, we challenge, as I mentioned, the entire employer mandate, the forced funding of abortion devices and drugs under the employer mandate, and also the individual mandate. One of the things that doesn't get a lot of play is how individuals that are in insurance programs that actually provide abortion coverage, whether through the exchange or through your employer, in addition to your premium, you have to pay an extra $1 per month, and that goes directly into a fund that pays for abortion. That's the sole purpose of it. And if you remember, I think it was Senator Bill Nelson or Ben Nelson, the one who ultimately was pro-life, but then he switched his vote to vote in favor of Obamacare when he was told that there was not going to be any federal funding of abortion. What they did was the money doesn't come from the federal government. It comes directly from the individuals. So the individuals have to pay into a fund, and that fund funds one thing and one thing only, and that is abortion. And so it's a shell game. But for the first time in history, now you can trace $1 of your money directly to funding abortion. So in all of these different areas, it is a clash of unprecedented proportions with the free exercise of religion.
And this Obama administration has said over and over again, just with a straight face, that Obamacare does not require individuals and taxpayers to fund abortion. That's a lie. You just explained that it already funds not just abortifacients, but also surgical, chemical abortions and every individual, despite whatever their sincerely held religious beliefs may be, whatever their conscience may be on this issue, they're forced to fund abortion, and that is just unconscionable that we would be compelled to do that.
Well, when I argued the case at the Federal Court of Appeals for the second time, the one that now is pending before the Supreme Court, the Department of Justice attorney was trying to get around that point. But the judge, during a portion of the argument, tried to pin the Department of Justice attorney down. She tried to wiggle around it, but ultimately ended up admitting, yes, there are provisions that require the forced funding of abortion. This particular law is an atrocity with regards to liberty, of course, across the board, not just in this area of the overreach of government with regards to the employer mandate and the violation of free exercise of religion. We now know that this particular law could increase premiums for a family of 4 or 5 by nearly $8,000, between $7,000 and $8,000 per year. Unions are starting to come against this. Entities that supported it are coming against it. There's also now the provision that minors may not be covered by this particular provision. There was a problem in the drafting of the law. Of course, that's not going to be amended. So when the full weight of this law starts to settle down on America and on individuals, there's going to continue to be a crescendo of voices saying, repeal this and get rid of this particular law. Well, fortunately, we are now pressing in both ways, the United States Supreme Court and also through the legislative process as well. Go to Liberty Counsel's website. You can learn more about this particular case and others. You can go to libertycounsel.com, libertycounsel.com. We have a number of petitions that you can sign there on this and other issues, and you can go to libertycounsel.com for that kind of information and sign up for our regular email list. I think it's something that you want to be on so you can be informed and your voice can be heard. That's libertycounsel.com. You can also remember Liberty Counsel in your prayers and your regular financial support.
You have been listening to Faith and Freedom with Liberty Counsel. We hope that we have motivated you to stand up for your faith, family, and freedom. We can accomplish a lot when we work together. Get informed and get involved today. Sign up for our free monthly newsletter, The Liberator. We will send it out to you free of charge. Stay informed with our Liberty Alert email updates. Just click on the website at www.lc.org or call us at 1-800-671-1776. Tune in next time to learn more about your rights right here on Faith and Freedom.